Hello everyone, on this fine morning, whatever day it is. If you saw my newsletter, you could probably understand that I didn't sleep much with my wild 2-year-old toddler, as I also compared that to the state of AgTech right now, as it is going through little tantrums at night, trying to cause a ruckus, but yet it just needs to sleep. And sometimes they just need to wear down, to hold them in your arms until they fall asleep. Take a little rest. That's where we're at with AgTech in a sense. But I got another fun, unfortunate analogy, I guess you could put it, as call it yesterday, day before. There was a big bridge collapse in Baltimore, and it's insanely unfortunate. And hopefully they can find the people that have not made it through that tragedy. But one thing I pointed out, and I don't talk a lot about it lately, at least, is kind of the Earth observation side. And one of the things I would bring up is every time something major happens in disaster, all the satellite imagery companies want to take a picture of it from space and kind of showcase how they're special and why their imagery is better, even though it doesn't have much utility sometimes. Same thing happened when that ship got caught in the canal there, and I can't even remember which one it was, at least the big one. I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, I wanted to kind of compare that in a sense to maybe where things are in AgTech, maybe with a little flair of Earth observation stuff. But I think of that bridge collapse is, it just took one failure point, and it took one bad thing happening, the engine shut down or something like that, veered off course, hit just a critical point. Maybe, sure, the foundational part by those piers could have been bigger, and some are designed that way. This one was built in like the 60s or 70s, so wasn't quite the thought process at the time. But that's actually kind of where we're at in ag, I feel, with technology. Is we're doing a lot of good things. We're connecting all these dots, putting all these pieces together. We got these cool software tools and these new biologicals, whatever, you name it. Robots are coming and things, and people are getting excited. Yet, as I talked about, we maybe need to take a little break. But to kind of the bridge point is actually the AgTech ecosystem is pretty freaking fragile. Even if it looks great on the surface, there's some pretty small points of weakness to it. And one of the perfect examples is from even where my former employer was. I'll call more ag integrated. They're an infrastructure point of translating data files, from yield data to planting data, from switching it from a CN1 file, I think they are, to a John Deere file or whatever. All these conversions, and there's some that have done it themselves, built their own kind of pieces to that, but it's a critical infrastructure point for a lot of other software groups, some even major ones. And right now they're just kind of letting it be. They're not adding to it, they're not enhancing it, they're kind of letting it kind of be itself. And I've talked about this too. They may be trying to sell it or something, I don't know. There's a lot of chaos going on. And there's other companies, a few, very few, that are kind of dabbling in that area too. And this is just one point. There are other areas of this, from call it the infrastructure side of data in ag, there's just a few doing a lot. And sometimes we don't think of that. And with the kind of space in AgTech right now where it's not great, we're needing this nap, as I put, the money's kind of running out. What's going to happen, much like normal infrastructure, is it's gonna be kind of, well, let's just kind of hope it works and the road is clear and traffic goes back and forth, when some of those infrastructure points won't take a lot to kind of crumble down. Some people might rely on, from the data point on Leaf as a new group, and I know those guys, they're good guys, but they're a startup. They've raised a lot of money. Are they cash flow positive? I don't know. But if they're an infrastructure point and they are fairly new and they still maybe haven't found the exact fit, or there's other groups like that in other parts of the industry, what does that mean to it all? Are we not looking at it that way? And I brought up on another AgTech Dogwalk before, is maybe that's where, maybe governments need to step in and help in that part, as much like do with military contracts and whatnot, that supports these core infrastructure pieces to make sure the greater good is whole and well and traffic flows as it needs. Much like the roads and bridges and all the other infrastructure that sits around every country. I think we need to think about that a little more, because we're not that far away from our own bridge collapse, and maybe a multitude of them. And what might even happen if one does happen, just like the imagery companies came in and say, we took a shot of it, look how great our stuff is. Something could collapse and you'll have all these other groups saying, oh, we have a good thing, we're good, we're fine, they weren't, we are. Well, sometimes they're relying on other very weak parts of data infrastructure too. Look at all the hacks that happen in other areas of tech. Ag really hasn't had that happen yet, not that I know of. And trust me when I say this, it wouldn't be that hard for some hackers to do it and get some good stuff. Sorry for calling that out. Hopefully no one's going off of my thoughts there, but it's real. Sorry. AgTech infrastructure is kind of shitty right now. It could be better, needs to be better. I don't know how it's going to get better in the short term. And yes, some are probably doing better than others, no doubt. But there's some weak points. And if they aren't kind of figured out here, could have our own disaster beyond what we think maybe it is right now, with just money drying up. And that's it for today.